Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. We're going to touch upon a topic that's a bit controversial. I think a lot of the things that we speak about is controversial. So when I'm saying controversial, I think it's a bit more. But it's something that needs to be spoken about. And that is someone appreciating themselves. Appreciating how Hashem created them. Now we have to understand, there's the way Hashem created us with this goodness. And then after the sin of Adam and Eve, the chet of Adam and Chava, we got this demonic force inside of us. And much of life is figuring out, is this the demonic force or is this God speaking? You understand? This is much of life. For people that want to be good spiritual human beings, good ethical human beings, this is much of life. Figuring out, is it the demonic force or is it God speaking to me? And people have to take it a step deeper. That the makeup, my wants, my desires, is that God's DNA or that is demonic DNA? You understand? It's either one or the other. Now, in each one, you could have things like in God's DNA, there's different levels, things that are extremely important and things that are really not so important. And then in demonic, you could have things that are really horrible and things that are not so bad, but still bad. But each thing has to be in one or the other. You understand? It's either God's DNA or demonic DNA. And we have to appreciate that the different wants we have, that's also part of life to figure out, is that want part of God's DNA? If it is, I should appreciate it, I should love it, and I should love myself for having it. After all, God gave it. If that's demonic DNA, it should be the opposite. We're going to focus on God's DNA. And we're going to focus on the topic of marriage. And I'm going to go to boys, and hopefully we'll also touch upon girls, but I always like to talk about boys first because I'm a boy. It wouldn't make sense when we first start talking about women, which I might get it wrong. I mean, if I was talking about a boy and I'm a boy, there's a high chance I'm getting it right than if I, so that makes more sense to talk about. I like to just jump into it. I don't want to first talk about something else and then get to it slowly, to ease it. We're just gonna jump into it. The aspect that a boy wants a pretty girl. Is this God's DNA or is this demonic DNA? You hear the question? This is something. We're not talking about someone that wants a girl that dresses in hardly dresses and everybody's looking at her. That's the type of girl he wants, or a girl that's, I don't want to give examples, you understand? We're not talking about that. We're talking about, a good girl, but he wants a good girl that's beautiful. You understand? Now, we've gone into the topic of beauty, right? We're talking about the majority of people, what they consider beautiful. You understand? We're not going to go through everything, We're talking about what majority of people consider beautiful. Skinny, healthy skin, not bald, right? Some people prefer black, some people prefer white, usually it depends. If you're someone that's black, you prefer black. If you're someone that's white, you prefer white, right? That's usually how it is. Okay. The fact that someone wants a beautiful girl, right? We said something. We're not going to get into all the definitions because that wouldn't be proper. You understand? Go. It's not my place. Go read Solomon. Go read Shir Hashirim, the Song of Songs. You could go there. The fact that a person, a boy, wants a beautiful girl. You understand? Girls, they're not, they're not looking for like a crazy handsome man. Meaning they're okay with not, meaning that's not an essential to them. That aspect isn't an essential to them. But for a boy, it's essential that in his eyes, this girl is beautiful. You understand? And the question that we're asking today, that we're posing today, is that God's DNA? And if it's God's DNA, we should appreciate that in ourselves. Or is that, God forbid, the demonic DNA? The Satan's DNA that he tries to impose upon us. Which one is it? So, luckily, we go in the Chumash and we see that Hashem, right? Hashem, Adam says, he's alone. He needs a wife. And God makes him a wife, and God prepares her. He makes her, first of all, we know Eve was the most beautiful woman ever in existence. She was the first woman. Chava was the most beautiful woman ever. There'll never be a woman as beautiful as Chava, the work of God's hands himself. And it talks about how God made her here, braided her. We go into the Midrashim, right? God presented her in the best foot forward. You understand? The most beautiful girl today doesn't compare to Chava's finger. You understand? To Eve's finger. She was so beautiful. Why did God make her beautiful? Meaning, the demonic force was not in Adam, right? It was not in him yet. Why did God make her beautiful? The answer is that a boy, a person, a man wanting a beautiful girl is God's DNA. And now that we clarified that, we should appreciate that in ourselves. When someone asks, we shouldn't be like, afraid to say I want a beautiful girl. You say to them, I want a beautiful girl, and I respect myself for wanting a beautiful girl. Because that's the way God made me. And I respect God. That's what you say. You tell us the Shatchan today, a Shatchaner, especially a female matchmaker, she'll think like you're saying a prophecy, like who has ever heard someone ever saying such truth, such wise words? Like it's such a truth, it's a truth that's been buried so much. They're trying to push on you old girls. They're trying to push on you divorced girls. They're trying to push on you girls that are not pleasing. And they're like, oh, why don't you like her? She's a nice person. Right? And the fact that they'll even go as far as to say love will come. They'll even go further to say the fact that you want someone beautiful, there's something wrong with you. Because the Chazon Ish never looked at his wife. I'm not the Chazon Ish, right? Right? Absolutely insanity what goes on. You got to stand up there You gotta say, I need a beautiful girl. And I respect myself for wanting a beautiful girl. Ooh, this is like some alien coming to them and saying words that they never would ever imagine in millions and light years. You know? So this is how you approach it. And girls, they're being pushed into marrying this type of person, but really they want a balanced person. They don't want him looking like they don't want a midget. They don't want someone that looks horrible. I mean, many cases, even that they're okay with, as long as they have what we're going to discuss. You understand? But we're talking about in general. In general, right? He has to have, he has to at least look, he has to have a basic look. You understand? He could be a bit fat, a little more fat. He could be regular size, skinny, extra skinny. The skin doesn't have to be. Girl's skin is more fair than a man than a man's skin. It doesn't have to be fair skin. Just not. Sometimes you can even have acne, but they don't mind so much. He can't be like something's wrong with his skin in most cases, right? But there's a lot of flexibility over there for a girl. It's not so important to them. You know what is important to them? A balanced man. Someone that's spiritual, someone that works. Doesn't have to be making millions, but he works. And he wants to work for the family. You understand? And he's going to do everything he can. And someone that works on his ethics. That's it. And girls have to come and say, I want a balanced man. Someone that's spiritual. Someone that works. Someone that works on his ethics. And not only do I want that, I respect myself for wanting that. That's how a girl has to approach it. I think this is a huge thing. This is huge. I love you, and Hashem loves you more.